I've done is moisten the entire back of the paper with my 2.5-inch wash brush, okay? And then I let it dry down to barely damp. If you want to feel it, you can see that it's barely damp. So, because I want the background to blend in. And if it's too wet, it just won't work. If it's too dry, I'm going to get harsh lines. Now, remember I was concerned about my composition before, and I said I didn't like the way this seemed to be lined up right here. So what I did was I added this one stalk here. And actually, I think that made it all work. So I'm content enough to continue. Okay, so you want to, whatever your background color is, I like to use quinacridone gold because it gives the paper an antique-y look. You can also take tea bags, maybe about 3 or 4 tea bags, in just a little bit of boiling water, let them stand, and you'll get a beautiful color. And I would use that for my background wash. It's absolutely exquisite. Black tea, any tea, black tea probably would be the best. Okay, so what I'm going to do is and be sure that you have enough moisture this may not even be enough. That looks like what? Half a tablespoon maybe? You want to be able to cover the entire distance, so we'll see if I have enough there. I'm going to wet my wash brush again and dip into that color, and starting at the top, I'll just brush along. And see, now my paper is drying at that one spot. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And I'm going to stay away from all of my elements, from my leaves, from everything, at least a ½ inch and maybe an inch away. And now you can overlap, but remember to stay away from there. Okay. And let's get some tone in here. Maybe get a little bit in there, and continue downward.
Because in the past, you've gone over everything.
Yes.
This one
But, right, exactly. It really depends on the subject. And here, I don't want to get into trouble.
People
And
painted the koi.
Right, exactly, right. Seems like my paper is really getting dry in there. Okay, now let's see what's going on. Oops, it's really drying on me. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, it won't be the end of the world if your color gets into some of your elements, but we do want to try and keep it away. This is really drying down. Now here I can brush through because that's a solid looking tone going on. And here I can brush through as well. Okay. Now remember I said be sure you mix enough tone. So I'm running out. Okay. Now very quickly I want to go to a small soft brush and pick up my tone, dry off the brush very well, and then come in. See, and you can kind of, my new art term, mushy gushy, write that one down so you don't forget it. You can mush and gush around, and here. And remember to keep this brush on the dry side. And I'd still stay away about 1/8 of an inch. Many times your original line will act as a barrier but we can't always take that chance, so don't go right up to the original, okay? Okay, now here, what's going on? Let me, that. Sometimes you have to
So
stop
you can
and-
wash the background with whatever color you like, right?
Oh, exactly, right,
can
right.
use it like
But
that.
I want sort of what I'm going for is an antique look. Let's see what's going on here. You have to pay a little bit of attention so you don't go into an area that is a leaf or a flower, right? So you want to just encircle them. Just come down here a little bit. Oops. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done on this area. Give it one final check. Maybe this could be a little darker here to blend it in a bit. Okay. Now, because this is our double shin flower paper, it can't take too much rubbing. So you do want to be careful that you don't scrub it too much. If it were landscape paper, we could. And we wouldn't be afraid of it tearing on us. Okay, there's a spot there. Okay, and I just have one more area that I want to work on. Right here. Get a little tone going on there. It's darker here. Okay, did I get every spot? Pretty much?
Yes.
Very nice.
Did we do it? I think we did. Okay. So now, to tell the tale, we'll turn it back over to the front and see what it looks like.
Oh, look at that.
But you see how soft it is?
Oh,
And, okay, so I could have put a little bit more tone in there. And dare I try it on the front?
no one will know.
No one will know? Okay, so. there.
Now we can blackmail it, that's it.
Right, right, exactly. So I'm pleased with it. Now, another thing is that these background washes really work when you have a painting that you're not thrilled with. Do a background wash, and then you can take some of the elements. This works better when you're using color, but also with the ink. You can, for example, I could have done a stroke that echoed this. I could have done a palish stroke on the back that would have bled a lot. And so to echo that, and the same thing with the leaf, you can do some strokes that echo it on the back. And it just,
Did you do it before you wash this or after you wash?
after,
After
just
you wash it.
after, well, you know what? Let's just show you what I'm talking about. This painting will be later on the altar of, for the good of the class, right? It will be sacrificed, right, for the good of the class, right? So I'm going to take, let's use a soft brush. And let's see, do I want to use ink or, sure. I'm going to add just a bit of ink to that quinacridone.
Like this one, you have some more like shadowy stalk of
Right,
leaves.
okay.
So that's what you're.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Right, good observation. Okay, so let's mix the tone here. I poured more ink than I cared to. But let's just go for it. You know, one must be bold and brave. So, see, you can just start doing things like that. We can even say on the leaves, do something like that. Maybe, I kind of like that. Okay, and then what if we just did to indicate what this was before, and just like a petal shape coming out here. disappeared. And so after you do these, it adds what shall we call it? An air of mystery? Sure. That'll work, right?
I like that too.
Right? And this here needs a lot of help, so let me get some more quinacridone gold. Work that in. You want to be careful that your strokes aren't too overpowering. That's the only thing. So when you mix your tones, don't have them be too strong. Okay, so. Okay, do we stop or do
Stop.
we?
She's getting
You're
nervous.
making me nervous.
I'm making myself nervous.
You're making me
Okay.
so beautiful. It makes
Okay, all right, so let's turn it over and see what
I know
happens.
you're sacrificing it, but
So, can you see,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know how it can become extremely interesting? See, that really helped that area a lot. The only area I'm not happy with, see what I wanted to do was one more stroke there, but you stopped me, but it's okay. It's okay.
it's so pretty.
I know, it's like, it's so sweet.
You need to fix it.
Okay, all right, then I'll stop. But so as I said in the beginning, this really helps when we're not 100% happy with our shapes. Just come in and do that shadowy mystery work. It's best if you do it on the back. It'll bleed through softer than if you painted it on the front. Always be sure that your paper is not dry. If it's dry, you're going to be in trouble. You'll get hard lines, which we don't want. So I'm actually content.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you. Well, you're all right. Exactly.